Come to. Now you got sound. Okay, good. Yes. Yeah, like I said, it. Yeah, the last thing wasn't working out too nicely for me. Okay, so this is what we call a one-sheeter, right? This has got basically all the information about the 5.0e that we send out for marketing purposes to, tell dealers, distributors, and customers a little bit about the gun. So of course you've got the specs. It's 5.0e. It's a 9mm. It comes with a magazine capacity 17+1, unless you live in one of those silly states. Barrel 4.91 inches. Overall length 8.11. Right, with 1.33. Blah 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 blah. Now, here's the thing that I need people to understand and comprehend. Like, when we talk about like the VRF 14, right? That is also made out of RIA-USA in Cedar City, but it is a parts kit. We get some parts in from our partners in Turkey from RIA. They make the VR60, the VR80 for us and all that kind of stuff, right? They send the parts kit in. We machine the receivers, and then we assemble it. This gun is entirely built in the U.S. using U.S. raw materials. So from absolute nothing but a block of aluminum or steel or whatever, all the way until it is a complete gun, it is made completely and utterly out of Cedar City, Utah, here in the U.S., using U.S. sourced resources. Okay, so this is a true built for Americans, by Americans, in America kind of firearm. Now, what that also translates is that we're having to pay the U.S. prices for the raw material. We're paying U.S. prices for the manual labor. We're paying U.S. prices for machining and finishing, and all this kind of stuff is going in. That is going to be one of the reasons why you see the price tag. And I know it kind of seems like it's a little bit of a, whoa, that's not very typical of Rock Island Armory. And we get it. Okay. Most of the time when you think of Rock Island, you think it'd be very affordable option for the blue collar working guy. And not that we're not proud of that. We love being a fantastic option for first-time gun buyers or people that maybe just don't have the type of financial stability to afford, super expensive guns. We at Rock Island Armory absolutely love being an option for those people, a good, reliable one, okay, with a lot of options. So the RIA 5.0e is not necessarily meant for that, but it is meant for those people that can appreciate what they're going to get with this firearm. So when we talk about the 5.0e, just know those are obviously some of the specs. But the biggest thing to take away from that is that it is completely and utterly made in the USA. Now, what is it that the 5.0e, what do you get when you buy one, right? So for the MSRP is $1998. Let's get that out of the way, okay? Yes, it is almost $2,000. However, that is the MSRP. Let's be honest, not many places ever actually sell things for the MSRP. So are you having to pay $2,000 for it? No, you're not, okay? You're probably going to find it in the gun cabinet somewhere around $1,600, $1,700, which I know is still a pretty penny. But when you talk about the quality, the fit to finish, the firing experience, the warranty, and the biggest thing you have to remember is all the research and development. This gun was in development for like 8 or 9 years, okay, of us making parts, putting it together, it not working, figuring out why it wasn't working, fixing it, making more parts. Like, that's all that happened over 8 or 9 years, okay? So MSRP, $1998. We're going to get that out of there. One of the things about the 5.0e that is very, very different when it comes to the firearms world is the RVS system that we have in there, or ram valve system. Okay, that is a new patented recoil system that was developed for the 5.0e. That has to do with how the barrel is able to sit so low into the sliding frame, how the barrel doesn't have to tilt when it unlocks, where therefore we're able to keep, we don't have to create space for the barrel to drop down into any sort of locking block or anything like that. So just a very, very interesting technology. Look, I'm going to say that once the patent expires on this RVS system that we've created, I wouldn't be surprised if multiple gun companies start coming out with guns that have this recoil system. Okay, it is fantastic feeling as far as the recoil impulse, the muzzle flip, like it's just very noticeable. Okay, so here's your Brea. Yes, good to see you too. Nuke and Juke, that pistol grip angle. Wow, the god of green. I hope that means green, you know, this way. Devontae family was good. John McClain, love the gun product. Thank you. Can you hook me up with someone close to me that carries the 5.0E? You know, the best bet of what you could do is probably go onto our website, it's armscor.com, go to the dealer locator portion of it and see which dealer already carries our products, and then let them know that you'd like to order a 5.0E. And that's going to bring me to a little bit thing a thing a little bit later on here in the broadcast. But let's continue to talk about the 5.0E for a second. Okay, so obviously with that RVS system, we get an extremely low bore access. We have a non-tilting barrel. We also have a square barrel. Now, the thing about that square barrel is that is so much mass that is sitting on the front end of that gun that doesn't have to reciprocate back and forth. Like it comes back about 1/4 of an inch, and that's in the unlocking process. Okay. Other than that, it just sits out there, which also means that if it has to come back 1/4 inch, it also goes forward 1/4 inch. So you have all that weight shifting back forward when it's locking back up, which helps drive that muzzle back down, right? The polymer grip module can be replaced with other grip variants if or when they become available. Trust me, we know that modularity is kind of a big thing right now. We built this gun with the idea that down the road, once we have a good solid platform and a good solid base of customers, then we can start releasing other accessories for it, such as grip modules where you can change the size of it and the feel of it and all that kind of stuff. Okay, so those will be hopefully coming down the line, but first we gotta, you know, let's get one foot before we get the other foot in front of it, right? The iron sights, to note for those people that would be interested in maybe buying aftermarkets, they're patterned after SIGs. So if you can get SIG iron sights, then you can replace the iron sights in there if you don't like the night fusion sights that are included with the 5.0E. The aggressive serration. So you'll notice on the slide, it has all those window cuts. That is to, it's one, it reduces weight of the slide reciprocating. So it helps the slide reciprocate a little bit faster and cycle faster, but it also gives you a very aggressive grip of the slide in the event that you need to manipulate it in some way, shape, or form, right? So there we go right there. Those serrations right there. Very, very aggressive. You get a very positive grip on the gun with that, okay? The 5.0E, when you buy it, it comes with 2 different plate patterns, and that's going to be the RMR and the RMSC, okay? I can't think of the company off the top of my head that makes the plates, and we do have other plates available that fit the 5.0E for the Delta Point Pro, if that's a footprint pattern that you need. That would just have to be something that would be ordered aftermarket, okay? But RMR and RMSC should get you about 70% to 80% of what is out on the market to fit on this gun properly, okay? You will also get 3 17-round mags when you buy the 5.0E. Okay, so Rock Island Armory, for those that know us, you typically only get 1 magazine, and then you have to purchase more if you want. 5.0E comes with 17-round magazines. Okay, so right off the bat, we're starting with a little bit more bang for the buck. Okay, now the magazine pattern is patterned after the CZ75, and I know a lot of people compare the 5.0E to the CZ, but it's not. Okay, it is different. Now, to say that though, I wouldn't try and use CZ75 magazines because you probably need to do some sort of fitment. So they're not just going to be plug and play. You're probably going to have to tune them a little bit, get them to work with the gun, and all that kind of stuff. So we'll just let that being said. Okay. Now, as we were discussing before, there are some people that would be interested in purchasing a 5.0E. Maybe their dealer doesn't know where to go. If they contact RIA-USA direct, we can sell direct to you guys or to your dealers for them. So they can just, contact, email address can be RIA-sales@rockislandarmory.com. Okay. Or if they just go on our website and they click RIA-USA, they can get the contact information there, and we can get them a gun out to you or to them so that they can sell it to you. Okay. So that's going to be one of the easiest ways for you to get the 5.0E. Now, something I wanted to show is a little comparison video that I've done. Okay. Now, when I talk about the recoil system and getting what, like understanding what it is you're paying for, I came up with this video that I recorded a while ago that I posted up on my YouTube channel showing the differences between the 5.0E and like a regular 9mm. In this case, it's my competition pistol 9mm single stack that I shoot for USPSA or IPSC, actually, because I typically shoot mine for IPSC. That gun is tuned extremely, extremely well. Okay. So understand that gun is not a stock 9mm. This is a gun that was designed for me and the way I shoot, the way I grip the gun, and the ammunition that I shoot. Okay. So this is as tuned of a pistol as you could essentially get against a stock 5.0E. And I want you to notice something. When I push play on this, you're going to notice that they both start firing at the same time. And I'm shooting at a full-size IPSC steel target. Okay. So it's not like I'm having to aim really hard. I'm only like, I think 9 yards or something like that. Okay. So basically, once my sights were on target and I decided I could hit the target, I pulled the trigger again. And what you'll notice is how much faster I finish the shots with the 5.0E than I do with my 9mm 1911, because the sights get back on target that much faster. So I'm just going to hit play here. So you can see 3 shots in, I'm already almost half a shot ahead of my 9mm. Okay. Now, I know that it, or even better, you can see now I'm already halfway there. Okay. So we're just going to show this one more time. And again, here's the thing. When we're talking about competition shooting, we are always trying to figure out how to get a little bit faster. And when we say a little bit, we mean 1/10 of a second. Well, here in a matter of 9 to 10 shots, I can already get 2 to 3 tenths of a second against shooting my traditional 1911. Okay. That's how much of a difference that recoil impulse and the lack of muzzle rise is when we talk about the 5.0E. All right. They're like, I'll say this. Shooting a 5.0E is a lot like shooting a 22 TCM. I could sit here and tell you all about how amazing it feels and how surprising it is once you fired the shot and you realize that, oh my gosh, I'm already back on target again. That happened really fast, But until you experience it yourself, it's kind of hard to really, the easiest way to sell it on you would be for you guys to just go give it a try and put it up side by side to another whatever 9mm you like. I would dare to say you could put it up. I would be willing to put it up against any 9mm that you wanted to put it up against, and I bet the 5.0E would end up being the one that feels better and cycles faster. And by cycles faster, I mean that you could get back on target sooner and be ready to fire your follow-up shot. Okay, I would bet. I would make that bet. Now, let's see. What is the best holster for the MAPPFS? I can't find one. I'm not entirely sure. I would assume it would be an EAA witness style pattern, but I'd have to get back. I'd have to get with you on that. Why don't you shoot me an email? And this is for anyone here. If you have any questions, either during the broadcast, let me know in the chat. If you have one that you think of afterwards, you can email me, John McClain at armscor.com, JOHN MCCLAIN. shoot me that question in my email because I've got the memory of a goldfish, which according to Ted Lasso is a good thing. According to my boss, not so much. So shoot me that email with that question, and I'll see if I can get an answer for you about where to find a decent holster for the MAPP. I would suggest FPS Holsters because that's my company, but I don't make that holster. So I can't even help you out with that. But all right, obviously it's early in production, but seeing it has a modular grip like, say, a 2011, are there plans for grip? Yes, there are plans for grip variations. Whether or not how quickly we're able to get those rolling is still unknown. So, like, the plan is to have modularity, just not sure of the ETA for that, okay? And send one to PewView and do a review on it. Wayne, if you know that person and they want a 5.0 to do a review on it, again, have them email me and I can forward them on to our team that gets that taken care of. We got no problem sending that 5.0E out for people to give a try. Now, let's talk about something that you guys here in the chat room or watching on this video, maybe you're a little bit, could be a little bit more excited about it. So the 5.0E, obviously you can buy from a dealer, you know, your dealer buys from a distributor or direct from us, and it's going to be a fantastic shooting experience. Okay. However, maybe you're one of those people that doesn't mind paying a little bit more if that means that you're going to get a little bit more. And I want to show you an interesting little tip. All right. Let's talk about what you are seeing right here. This is the 5.0E Gray Ghost. Okay. What does that mean? I know, it doesn't make sense, right? Okay. Right off the bat, I'm going to let you know. MSRP, $2,600. And I know you think that's a lot just for a Cerakoted camo pattern. Let me explain to you what this gun is. Obviously, you get all the technology that comes with the 5.0E, okay? The Cerakote is a urban Sage Tech camo pattern from Desert Predator Customs. Okay, so the first thing you need to remember or realize is if you wanted to buy this firearm, you're actually helping another company get business, because you buy the gun from us, we send the gun to the company, to Desert Predator Customs. They get to Cerakote the gun and then ship it back. So right off the bat, you're helping two companies, one RIA-USA and two Desert Predator Customs, to get the Urban Sage Tech camo pattern. Two, you get to customize your serial number. So if you want to have a very distinct, interesting, cool 5.0E to show off to your friends, that has a custom serial number that you get to pick, there you go. You've got an option of doing that. Not only do you get the camo pattern and to customize your serial number, you also get 6 magazines. 5 17-round magazines, and I believe one of them is an extended 24-round, I believe. 40 rounds. So you get 6 magazines in total. Okay. You will also get, you can't see it because my my video is covering it up. There is, here, let me see if I can, whoop, look at that. That is a removable aluminum magwell that will run with the stock magazines with their base pads. So you get the ability to load the gun a little bit faster by having that magwell on the bottom of it. And it is removable. So say if you were going to shoot the gun in IPSC production, you can just remove the magazine and it's production legal. It's also going to be production optics legal. But if you want to run it in like limited optics, throw the magwell back on, put a red dot on it, and you'll be good to go. Speaking of red dots, you will also get a Holosun 508T red dot optic. That ships with the firearm. You also get a Savior Equipment pistol case, which is a very nice soft case with suede lining in the interior, or I don't even think it's, I think it's felt. And then it has pockets for all 6 of your magazines, plus an outside pocket for you to carry, extra fiber optic rods or anything like that. I mean, it's a really nice soft case, okay? It's branded for RIA-USA. And then you will also get a 5.0 holster from, surprise, surprise, FPS Holsters, which is my company. So now when you buy the 5.0E Grey Ghost direct from RIA-USA, you're helping RIA-USA sell a gun, you're helping Desert Predator Customs get a gun painted, and then you're helping FPS Holsters sell a holster for you guys. Okay? Again, $2,600 is MSRP on this gun. If you would like more information about this gun, or if you would be down to buy one because I've piqued your interest, RIA-USA, like I said, you can basically start the process with you reaching out to the company, so we can get all of the details figured out, including your FFL information, and then get the process going. So if you go to armscor.com and you click the RIA-USA tab up top, there is a form on that page that you can fill out with your basic information to let them know you're interested in it, in which case they will then reach out to you to collect your information. Or you can email riasales@rockislandarmory.com. Okay? Okay, I have the DY9 and I noticed some chipping coming off of my frame with just maybe 100 rounds through it. Easy B, what I would suggest if you have some issues coming up with that, take some pictures of it, go on the armscor.com website, click on the warranty, which, let me see here, where I can't quite remember where exactly it is. Resources. Armscor.com, go to resources and then warranty. They've got a warranty form that you fill out just to get the process started. It's vodka, sorry. And they will get back out to you and see if that's something that we need to address as far as like replacing the gun or anything like that, or fixing it for you. Okay, so how can you order the Magwell? Excellent question, UFC fan. We haven't quite figured that out yet, because here's the thing. The Magwell is held in with a screw on the back end of the grip. And we're trying to figure out a way for you, the end user, to be able to learn and know how to install it correctly so that we don't have warranty issues with it. We are in the process of figuring it out. We think we've got a pretty good plan here. So I would say maybe give us another couple months before we solidify everything, and then they will be available to order. But like I said, that's the best answer I can give you right now. I wouldn't put it in an email so that you could, have documented proof of it. So I like Taylor Freelance for my aftermarket trinkets. Yes, we do too. And I believe we have Robin Taylor Freelance base pads for the magazines so that you can get extended magazines for it, so you can get more capacity out of our mags from Taylor Freelance. I really like Robin Taylor. He's a good man, and he makes some good stuff for sure. The FPS holster is nice. Thank you. I think so too. I've worked very hard to try and get to where I am, and hopefully I can continue to grow my business. It would be amazing to, have something that was initially nothing, right? To create something out of nothing is pretty cool. So go from there. Off subject. I need DY9s and FDE. I'm a dealer. I hope you mean gun dealer, not a drug dealer. I'm not sure. I'm not sure what we're looking at as far as the imports of DY9, how many we're getting in and what kind of colors. I do know they had a whole bunch of different colors with that. I would suggest getting with your dealer and having them reach out to the distributors or to our sales team. I don't think they have a generic email anymore. Like I said, if again, John McClain at armscor.com, JOHNMCCLAIN at armscor.com. If you want to shoot me an email with that request, I can send that off to the sales team and have someone reach out to you to get you some more information. Okay, Justin? Speaking of red dots, any ETA on the double stack or RIA 1911 in general, getting the RDS cuts? Yes, they are coming. No, I don't have an exact date for you yet, but they are coming. Okay, I know that for a fact. How long of a wait time for the order? So I think if you order the Gray Ghost, I think they said it was something about like a 2-week turnaround time for them to have the gun shipped off, to get it Cerakoted, and then for them to get it back and then put the whole package together, right? Because after you Cerakote it, you got to reassemble the gun and then make sure everything is fitted, because the Cerakote does add a little bit of width to everything that coats it. So we get it back, we reassemble it, and then we just go through and make sure it functions correctly. But I believe, yeah, I think they said it was about a 2-week turnaround for the Gray Ghost custom gun. Okay. Hey, are you getting any TM22 metal magazines? I'm not sure. I'm not in sales anymore. I'm fully in marketing full time. I assume we're still getting them. But Lance, are you looking? Where are you looking for your magazines? Is it Advanced Tactical or is it some other company? Let me know in the chat. Also, the Gray Ghost package is sexy. I'd be stuck for days trying to come up with the serial. Yes, exactly. Right. Like how fun. Like I've got an AK, a NATO AK from Rifle Dynamics. They built for me for a AK match that I shot a couple years ago, and they asked me what my serial number was going to be, and I told them it was Yippee-Ki-Yay-1. I mean, of course, right? So I know it wasn't a Beretta, but hey, you got to pick and choose your battles. Easy B, thank you, sir. No problem. I was thinking the same thing. Yeah, I know, right? When you get that, I mean, that's like almost like coming up with your personalized license plate too, right? So. Is this new system available in 45 or 10 millimeter an hour in the future? We will be coming out with other calibers of the 5.0E in the future, but let us get the 9 millimeter out the door rolling on a more regular basis first. But all right, nice. Robin is a great guy. Yes, he is. How many manufacturers have you had, and what is the recommended? Malfunctions have I had, and what is the so for the 5.0E? All right, so I have had, let's see, I've probably fired about 3,800 rounds through mine. I think I had 2 or 3 failure to fires. But here's the thing. I had the failure to fires. I picked the rounds up, I put them back in the magazine, and they fired the second time. And so I'm not sure if that is I'm going to assume that's more of a primer issue and not a firearm issue. I also have had a few failure to extracts. That was obviously, I think that's just from spring tension. Some things are still being worked out a little bit, but I think out of like the 3,800, I had 2 failure to extracts, and the other times have just been failure to fires. But again, I would load the bullet back in, and it would fire the second time around. So I think that was more of a primer issue than it was a firearm issue. So recommended break-in, about 500 rounds, I would say. If you're seeing issues after 500 rounds, then get ready to go ahead and send. And let's put it this way, I would suggest that for any firearm out there, not just ours. You got a Springfield, Kimber, like hell, even a Glock. Okay, 500 rounds. Let things do what they need to do before you start getting worried about it. Also, I didn't realize you own FPS. I'll check them out. I imagine you specialize in RIA guns. I'll be yes. So I mean, I don't specialize in RIA guns, but yes, I do make holsters for the TAC Ultras, the 1911s, and the 5.0. So, what's the likelihood that the 22 TCM bolt action rifles will be back in stock? I've been waiting for well over a year for it to be back in stock. Tristan, we are getting them in, just not on a regular basis, mostly due to the fact that it just wasn't an insanely hot seller. Not to say that it's not important for you to get one, for sure. I would have to let's see. I asked a couple weeks ago, and yeah, I mean, they basically said they get them in, but it's kind of sporadic of when they get them in. And even then, I'm not even sure if it's the wood stock version or the tactical version, but they do have We are getting them in. You just, I hate to say. Again, shoot me an email. Here, do this, Tristan. Shoot me an email, johnmcclain@armscor.com. With that request, I will forward you to a salesman, and they can let you know at least if they can get one on order for you with whatever dealer it is that you'd like us to work with, and we'll see if we can get something squared away for you with that. Okay. I mean, that's the best I can do. Like I said, I'm marketing full time, no longer in sales. So, dude, I literally held my breath thinking you were going to give me a solid answer. Sorry. Well, don't hold your breath. Breathing is important. I just sent my 9mm DSRI for optics cuts. Well, there you go. I mean, you can do that. You know, the downside is that the warranty is going to be void depending on who you sent it to, unless you sent it into us for custom work. But let's be honest. If you guys are sending your guns off to get work done to them, more than likely, if you have issues, you're going to go back to the guy that worked on the gun, not necessarily us in the company. We know that. I'm aware of that. And if that's something that you really, really want, then absolutely go for it. As long as they're competent and understand what they're doing, then great. I'll say this. I know quite a few gunsmiths. Matt McClain from McClain's Custom Guns, Joe Chambers from Chambers Customs, of course, Arnell and Sean, right? And I'll say this. They really do enjoy working on the RIA guns, mostly because we kind of leave everything a little bit oversized. So they have a lot of material to be able to play with and really customize the look as well as the fitments to it. So that's just what I've heard. You know, that's the word on the street. But all right. The green fiber optic front sight is better than the red. Green is very bright. Red is best for the rear. I agree. I actually don't like fiber optic in my rear sights at all. I prefer to have a nice, wide, flat, serrated black rear sight. And then, yes, I run a small, not a tiny, but I do run a small green fiber in my front sight. That was actually after I had a discussion with a guy that kind of sort of is a pretty good shooter named Eric Recoil, who shoots on Team Armscor with me. We had a discussion years ago because I used to run a red fiber optic in mine, right? Like red, that's like for stop signs and for stoplights and like, you know, danger. But we discussed it. He said that green is actually easier for our eyes to pick up than red is, and easier to track. And so I gave it a try. I swapped out my fiber optic. I shot it for about 3,000 or 4,000 rounds. I went back to a red optic or red fiber, and I had the hardest time tracking it. It was the craziest thing to experience. Going back to something that I was so used to after having shot a green. And ever since then, it's been nothing but green fibers for my front sight. So I agree. Green fiber optic for the front sight is the best option. But, you know, not everyone can be right like me. Okay, sometimes people just want to be wrong. I like the 5.0E more than the staccatos or double stack 1911s. I agree. Like I said, but you gotta remember, I think the 5.0E doesn't necessarily compete against the staccatos and the Atlases and, you know, all, because it's not the same platform. Like, don't get me wrong, I love shooting 1911 style guns. Like, I have yet to find a gun that has a better trigger than a 1911 has, and what you can do with the 1911 trigger. Okay, but when it comes to the recoil impulse of the 5.0E and just how smooth and flat that thing cycles, I can sacrifice a little bit for the feel of the trigger for the performance that I get out of the fight. Like, I love shooting my 5.0E. Love shooting my 5. Let me say that again. I love shooting my 5.0E. Now, granted, I know you guys also say, well, yeah, you get it from the company. Yes, I do. That is one of the perks of being a shooter for them. But you got to understand, I shot the very first prototype of that gun 8 years ago. I know what it's originally was designed for and how it was custom built and where it is now. The only thing that is different about the gun there than the original prototype that was a fully custom build that I tried like 8 or 9 years ago would be the trigger weight. The trigger weight that I originally shot was probably around like 1.3 ounce or 1 pound, 3 ounces. Now it's 3.5. But the fact that you could get that trigger down to almost a pound and have it still run reliably was pretty impressive. So if trigger's your problem, or if trigger's your issue that you have with the gun, just know you can adjust it and it'll still run. Fantastic. Love shooting it. Can you explain the trigger experience on a 5.0E? It looks a little SIG-like. I'm using a Smith & Wesson in 19. Okay, so it's a mostly flat-faced trigger, as you can tell in that picture, right? There's a little curve to it, but it's not a traditional curve like you would see on most guns. It's not a direct slide-back trigger bow action like the 1911 is. It is a hinged trigger like a striker fired, but you got to remember this is an internal hammer-fired firearm. So it doesn't quite have, it's got a little bit of a striker fired feel to it, but it's like if a striker fired and a 1911 had a baby, and like they actually loved each other and had a baby together, is how I would compare the 5.0E trigger. Now I'll say this, one thing to note about the 5.0E trigger, it is not as crisp of a break as a 1911 trigger is. Okay, so those that know about, pulling triggers, you understand that there's the prep, right, where you bring it back until you get to that wall where the weight increases and the gun's about to break, and then there's like a definitive like crack, right, like you fall off a cliff. The 5.0E kind of has a little bit of like a rolling trigger, meaning that you'll do the take up, and then once you hit that wall, there's going to be a little bit of creep before the hammer drops. Some people would see that as a minus. I'm going to explain it to you as to why it's a pro. The downside to having such a definitive, crisp break, especially for newer shooters, is that gives them the exact moment of when they know the gun's going to shoot, which gives them that anticipation flinch, right? Because they know the gun's about to go off, and so they anticipate it. Versus having a little bit of a roll through that break means that they could essentially try to break that shot off, but maybe there's still a little bit of play left, and they will catch the flinch before the shot breaks. And I've seen multiple people do it before shooting the 5.0E, where they flinch because they think it's going to go off, they correct it, and then they pull the trigger correctly and they get the hit. So understand, it's not a 1911. It's not going to be a 1911 trigger, but that doesn't mean it's going to be a bad trigger pull. I would take the 5.0E trigger pull over any of my Glock trigger pulls, and I've got trigger jobs on all of those from Taryn. One of them is from Taryn Butler himself. He did the trigger job on it. The other one is just kind of a package that his crew set up for me. And don't get me wrong, they're fantastic triggers, but I'd still take the 3.5 pound 5.0E trigger over my production Glock 34 trigger that Taryn himself worked over. It's a fantastic feeling trigger. It'll take a little bit of getting used to, but like, and I mean by a little bit, like 10 or 15 shots in, you'll have it figured out. My DY9 has dual green in the rear and red up front. Yeah, that's the problem. If they would have asked the pro shooter what my thoughts were, I would have told them to switch it. Actually, I would have told them to get rid of the red or the fiber optic rear side altogether. But yeah, because I think that, let's see, I think those are True Glow sights as well on there. So I can confirm that, but I do think they're from True Glow, which means if you wanted to swap them out, you could, and have it done the right way. But for me, green is best. I get all my optics now much cleaner and clear for my eyes. Yes, I'll say this though. Fiber optics, I will run green. For a dot, I run red, and there's a couple reasons for that. One, I need to differentiate when I'm shooting a dot from my iron sights, and when I see my dot in red, my brain comprehends that I'm shooting something different than irons. Versus if I see green, my brain then comprehends, oh, we're shooting irons. We actually have to take a little bit more time aligning things. When I used to shoot a red fiber, and then occasionally I would go and shoot a red dot, it was funny that when I went back to my fiber, I would just see the red dot in the middle of the target, start pulling the trigger. At no point did I ever confirm, like, wait, was that actually in the rear sight, or was it high, or like I saw a red dot. So by swapping out my fiber to green and having my optics being red, my brain, I don't have to try and convince it or get confused with, I'm seeing a red, the red's on the brown, pull the trigger. It's red's on the brown, pull the trigger. Green is in the rear sight and on brown, pull the trigger. So just a fun fact for me personally. But is it a dual action or all trigger pull? So the 5.0E is a single action firearm. It is a internal hammered firearm. Okay. Now what that means is that it is not production legal in USPSA. And because it's not production legal, it means that it can't be carry optics legal in USPSA, because the wording for USPSA is that it has to be a double action firearm or a striker fired. That's the way they word it. Versus IPSC, the wording in their rule book for production is that it has to be a double action or striker fired or have the average trigger pull of 3.5 pounds. So because our firearm is 3.5 pounds, it is production legal for IPSC, not for USPSA, strictly because of the wording of their rule books. Okay. What that also means is that, again, you can shoot that in production optics in IPSC because it's production legal. You can't shoot it in carry optics because for something to be carry optics legal, it has to be production legal for USPSA. But we also have limited optics as a thing now. And that is going to be something that I plan on giving it a go here in the next cycle. Once, so I've got, we just finished up the last handgun nationals. We have one more IPSC, not IPSC, I'm sorry, USPSA Open and PCC nationals coming up. I think that's next week, actually. I leave Thursday for that. After that, we'll be allocating world shoot slots and going from there. I don't think I made the classic team. I'm actually more upset about that than I'm leading off to be. But I should have enough points to still be invited to go compete at World Shoot. And if I do, my plan is to take the 5.0E and go shoot production. So, yeah, we'll see how that goes. But all right. Well, guys, look, we are about 47 minutes into this broadcast, which, don't get me wrong, I love chatting with you guys. I absolutely love chatting with you guys. I hope you guys found the information I gave you informative and entertaining. I thank you again for all of the fantastic comments and questions. Like, I love having these interactions with you guys. Please, let everyone else know too. Tell everyone, like, hey, you should start logging on and giving this guy crap, because I love chatting with everyone. So anything green color is a very good optic, but when it gets cold and your eyes adjust, red much better under 40 degrees. Red optics are much better. Yeah, I mean, well, like I said, I think I will say there's something to be said about the fact that, it also kind of depends on the person. Some people will track green better than red. Some people will track red better than green. Some people, it doesn't matter what color it is. They can't hit the broadside of a barn anyway. Right. So much appreciated. And thank you for the yeah, absolutely. Again, I love chatting with you guys. Thank you guys so much for taking the time to sit down with me. I'll say this, let me know, whoever's here, tell me real quick, do you think a weekend broadcast later in the day like we're doing now is better, or would it be better to do a broadcast towards, like, let's say a Friday night later on? Because my thing is, I'm not sure if the weekend is the best time, because, like, you guys have families and the things you want to go golfing, you want to go shooting, you got so I try to do it a little bit later in the day with hopes that everything is, kind of done, settled, you get lunch, and then you can sit down and enjoy the stream. But maybe it'd be better if it was like a Friday night broadcast, so that it's after work is done and dinner, and then everyone can just kind of log in. So let me know what you guys think about that kind of a time change. I feel like I would like later Friday night shows. See, I kind of think that might be better too. I'm retired. I can watch whenever. Well, yeah, way to brag. God, for the rest of us. I mean, I'd like to retire. Hey, go get yourself some FPS holsters. I only need to sell like 12 million of them if I want to retire early. But all right. Well, guys, thank you again. Thank you so much. around beer 30. Yeah. Well, the problem is if I start letting it get around too much later, then I'll be the one drinking, and then you'll get a really interesting live broadcast. So, all right. Well, I'm going to drop it off at this point. But guys, again, thank you so much for tuning in, taking the time to sit down and chat with me. I look forward to many more. We will be doing another broadcast here. I don't know if October, because I mean, the end of October, we start getting into like Halloween and stuff like that. So the next broadcast will probably be next month. But if something does pop up, make sure you have subscribed to our emails, newsletters and stuff, because we will let you know when the next episode of Armscor U Live is going to be going. So, but Tim, that's a good idea. I think the very first one I did was on a Friday, and then we started doing Saturdays. So we'll see. But anyway, like I said, for those that had those questions I couldn't answer, shoot me that email. I will see if we can get you guys squared away. And with that being said, guys, thank you so much for tuning in, and I will catch you on the next Armscor U Live with me, John McClain.